What up, peeps, and welcome to Peeps Street, the cafe. And join in the cafe by Christian. Say hello to the people, Christian.
Hello, people.
All right, and so most of you already know that we normally have a third person here, Denise. She is actually right here standing over there as she is protesting and refusing to participate in this particular episode because we didn't stop at Wendy's and get her a drink. Oh, McDonald's.
Well, it was originally.
You're not on the. All right. So
you'll be on the background.
So the show must go on. All right. So here at the Peeps Creek, we always have a conversation centered around drinking. Today, I am switching up and I'm drinking on H2O, that is water. Christian, what are you drinking on?
Straight vodka. No, I'm kidding.
Straight vodka water. All right, that's water. All right.
That's water.
So, if you are over the age of 21, make sure that you get your favorite alcoholic beverage. If you are under the age of 21 and just don't feel like drinking, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to. You can still water. You can get some tea. You can get some coffee. You can get some chocolate milk, you get some lemonade, some limeade, or even some pickle juice. All right, so are you ready to get into the conversation today?
Ready.
All right, and on today's menu is accused, guilty,
innocent or guilty,
or innocent. Innocent or guilty.
Episode 2.
Episode 2, it is called attempted murder or protective mother. For those of you who don't know, but you should know, the menu is the topic. All right, so are you ready?
Yep.
So we start off with this particular episode with a phone call from Connie. Connie is a nurse at the hospice that Kobe, we don't really know how old he is at the time. Okay, we do know that at the completion of this episode, he is 16. He's having his 16th birthday. But he is in hospice allegedly under the auspices of it being him being there under the terminal diagnosis of severe malnutrition.
He was 15 at the time of the she plays.
So severe malnutrition is the terminal diagnosis that he's at the hospice for. The nurse is basically saying that the mother allegedly asked if they could give Kobe something to make him go to sleep and not wake up. That's the mom, Danita.
No, sorry to cut you off, but he was in hospice because he had his surgeries, which we'll get into that, but the doctors were basically like, there's nothing else we can do. And then Connie accused the mom of starving her kid while being there in hospice.
Yeah, but what did you say no for? I was right.
Because you're saying that that Kobe was in hospice due to malnutrition.
He was in hospice because
there was nothing that could have been done.
Which is why, quote unquote, listen, keyword listening. That's why I said terminal diagnosis, meaning that there is nothing that can be done from a medical standpoint. And his terminal diagnosis, according to them, was severe malnutrition. That's why he was in hospice.
I don't recall that being the diagnosis.
Yes, that is the diagnosis.
Okay.
All right. So.
Agree to disagree.
That's perfectly fine. And so then we go into the lawyer's office. The lawyer being Danita's lawyer. Her name is Terry Moore. She's representing Miss Danita. And we find out that Danita is accused of medical child abuse, starving her child, Kobe.
Lying to doctors.
Lying about symptoms to doctors so that they can perform surgeries. Or performing unnecessary surgeries. And then for purchasing a casket and headstone for Kobe while he was in hospice. And of course the comment that Connie says that the mother asks, can we just give him some so he can go to sleep and not wake up, right? Which gets to the attempted murder charge, basically. All right, keep going.
Roll the ball, roll the dice.
Oh my God! So Kobe, this. Let me just say this. This episode was pretty boring. I'm just gonna say that I wasn't really into it. So let me be pretty transparent there. But apparently Kobe had approximately 17 surgeries over his 15 years.
I got this part.
And he was born premature, 3 months premature, and he was only 9 inches long, at least according to Danita, because we don't get any video footage of that.
And this is where we find out how old he was. They say that since being born and up to him being 15 years old, he has had a total of 17 surgeries. He has heart issues, kidney issues, I can't pronounce that word, something disease, which is basically he can't digest, so he can't poop normally, and then some bone, what was that word they used?
Bone density, low bone density.
Yeah, which I don't know about all that, but
this is what the mom is saying.
yeah,
Right? The mom is saying that he suffered from all of these different ailments.
yeah.
Gastro reflux is one of them as well, and then the GI. The GI is that he can't really use the restroom appropriately. She says that he would never be able to use the restroom
He would have to be on meds for that
for the
his
rest
whole
of
life,
his life.
yeah. And then, so fast forward 2015, this is right before he goes into hospice. So they go because his stomach and colon issues worsened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the doctors performed 2 surgeries, and it was unsuccessful. And they were like, sorry, there's nothing else we could do. So they recommended hospice, and that's where all these allegations started.
Right. So just so that people are kind of clear. So part of this whole thing that really gets me in a pickle, or like what the hell's going on here, is that they accuse her of lying about his symptoms, medical symptoms, and it would seem to me that a medical doctor wouldn't just jump in and do a surgery just because
and I mean,
a mom says something is wrong with him, like he's experienced this. Like, you would need to do some kind of diagnosis, I think, to find out what's going on, some kind of medical examination, some kind of x-ray, some kind of, I don't know, CT scan, something. What's that thing they stick down your throat?
Endoscope.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The little camera to see what's going on with the
Definitely,
stomach.
they should have done more tests, and we don't actually know if they did or anything right
Right.
before they jumped to the conclusion that he needs the surgeries and this and that. That's just what they show on the TV show. But I'ma just say it now, that charge does get dismissed. They don't find her guilty for it. So
Of what?
for lying about symptoms so they can perform surgeries that were unnecessary.
So you're just gonna give the
Yeah, you said it was a boring episode, so we might as well add a little spice to it now.
Okay, so what some of the questions that immediately popped up is that what we don't find out. It starts off with Connie doing the police call, right? But what we don't find out until maybe 30 minutes into the freaking episode, which is annoying, is that call doesn't really occur until they come and remove him. They, being the mom and the husband, come and remove Kobe from hospice.
Yeah, and it was everything that led up to that action that they took.
Right.
Because it wasn't that, let me just take my kid. No, it was that they were, are we just gonna, because this is like towards the end already.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about it?
Well, sure, but one of the things that they were, like, for instance, with the whole, Danita was basically saying, yes, I did say, can we not feed him or give him something?
But it was all under Connie's
Right.
supervision. She's the one that was saying that, he can't, he can't keep this food down and all that. Not that he can keep it down, but he won't be able to digest it correctly. And that, what else was she?
And that Connie
Should
suggested.
get ready should buy the casket and the tooth and the headstone and
You
all
want to ask a
that.
question? Just talk to me.
It's all coming back to me right now.
Okay. Go ahead, keep going.
That was it.
So the mother is basically saying, I didn't know anything about these things, but for the fact that Connie, who is the nurse for the hospice or lead nurse or owner or something, I don't know, they never really distinguished what her role is, told her that she needed to prepare. But as a parent, I'm like, okay, you're telling me my kid is dead, dying, so you want me to go buy a casket and a headstone? Like, that's not my priority. So to me, I just felt like Danita and her family going to buy this
Was not
didn't follow suit with a parent who is really concerned about, oh my God, just my child, which kind of leads to part of what they were arguing eventually was that the mom suffered from
Munchausen
yeah,
by proxy. Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
right. Then what is that?
That is a mental illness where this is not the right definition of it, but it's a mental illness that people that get diagnosed with it, they enjoy the attention that they get from having a sick child. So they kind of exploit them to get attention. And it's an actual real thing. There's not many cases that have actually been they've been prosecuted for. Is that the right term?
Right. One of the most famous cases of it is the Gypsy Blanchard case, and there's I think Netflix movie on it. But basically, Gypsy's mom.
It's on Hulu.
So basically, Gypsy's mom suffered from this condition, was making up all these things, made Gypsy believe that she was paralyzed or couldn't walk or had cancer and all these other ailments and diseases, mainly because she wanted people to feel sorry for her, the mom, and also she wanted to get free things. So what ended up happening though is Gypsy and her boyfriend killed the mom, murdered the mom, and so Gypsy went to jail ultimately, but that was one of the famous cases on that. But the thing about that is that the prosecution kind of came to this perspective without doing any kind of examination of the mom. So there was no expert that she talked to or that they used to have her have a conversation with so that she could be properly diagnosed, or at least there would be some kind of substantive evidence to support that claim. The only thing that they did was they gave Kobe's medical records to an expert that's at the quote-unquote expert at that particular hospital. Jamie Kaufman is her name. And this individual looked at the medical records and then saw 29 Facebook posts from Danita. And so based upon that, she assumed that Danita had this illness or what have you. I don't know, when they went to trial, basically, I don't know how that really panned out about that particular syndrome. But one of the things that
It was right after that CPS, the whole CPS thing happened.
Yeah, because CPS came in and tried to take the kids. And that's the other thing, CPS came, they went through 9 months of going to court to get custody, not just of Kobe, but of the other son. I think he was younger than Kobe, Colton. And the thing is normally when you go through those processes in the court system, they're kind of rigorous. Like the judges have you go in and have the child go in and speak to experts, trying to make sure that the child is not in danger, the child feels like there's safety there. I mean, it's not just a he said, she said type of thing. And then so to have the judge or the court award this family custody of both the child that the mother has been accused of attempted murder of, and then the brother, I don't know, that just sent some bells in my head about what the hell's going on with this case, which is one of the reasons I really didn't like it.
Yeah, no, and now that you mentioned that, I do recall Connie saying that, so Danita was saying that when the whole conversation about can we give him something so he doesn't feel pain anymore and stuff, Connie said that half the time he wasn't in any pain.
Yeah, it was just odd. And then none of the doctors, at least from what we saw, none of the doctors came and testified that I did the surgery because the mom was lying to me. It just seemed a little odd. Yeah. Right? Now, I will say that Danita's, I'm not an expert and I can't read people. Every individual handles stress, strife differently. I don't know. She just seems so fake with all her tears to me.
In the beginning, there were 2 or 3 scenes where she started crying, quote unquote, but there were no tears. She was just kind of faking it, and I was just you don't seem like you're sorry. It wasn't up until the end that I think she knew she was gonna be found guilty. That's when she started sobbing. It was like right before the jury, was it the jury, found her guilty. That's when she was like, oh shit, this is real.
Well, yeah, but it was before that, right? She didn't know what was going on when she was crying. Talking about when she was in the room crying with her lawyers.
When they were going to the
Preparing.
diner?
Yeah.
That was right before the
before.
last trial, yeah.
The last witness.
Yeah. Another thing that I found really weird was that not once up until the end of the whole episode, you see her husband or her kids. She had asked production to not be able to film them, which I found a little odd. Like I would want my partner being there, like comforting me or giving me support throughout all this stuff. You know, not that he wasn't, but.
Yeah, but then I guess as a parent, like, I mean, I guess that goes to the type, attempted murder or protective mother. Part of it could be, and I'm not speaking for her. Again, this episode was boring. But it could be her protective, like being a mother hen.
I get that for the kids, but I mean, your husband is a grown man. Like, he could have been there and been like, yeah, no, like, Connie said this, and that. Like,
right, but if she was going to go to away, right? Let's just assume for the sake of argument, maybe she put in her head that this is a difficult case because one of the things that the lawyer says is that when you have doctors who are going to testify, it's almost like God is testifying, similar to the police officer. Remember the lawyer said that, and in my head, I mean, quite frankly, in my head, I was like, that's being black every day. Like, that's always an issue when you go to trial, particularly when the defendant is not white. But putting that aside, I think that, I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. What were we talking about?
The fact that the husband was never.
Oh yeah, so that probably was her trying to protect her family,
I guess,
and not wanting newscasters to kind of know who they are. I
wasn't gonna get out, but okay.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
You never know what's going on until you're in that situation. But
can we talk about Danita's dad for a minute? So her dad was also part of, I don't know if he testified or not, but there was a scene of it where her dad was a cop. He's been a cop for 40 years. I think he was retired at the time that this was all going on. But he said that he would come visit Colby while he was in hospice,
mm-hmm.
and he would bring him food and drinks and all that. And Connie would be like, no, he cannot have any of this. And then on May 8th, Connie had asked for a family meeting.
Yeah.
And then she went on saying that he suffered from sepsis, which is like a blood infection.
Yeah, but he didn't get that till he was in hospice. He didn't have it before.
But it like went away miraculously. And they didn't know how. Like, he never had a full course of antibiotics.
And they've been in the hospice.
Yeah. And then Connie was like, leave him here for 3 days. Like, you guys don't come or anything. And I don't even think it was like a whole day later. That's when Danita called her dad.
I was like, let's get him on out.
I have to, like, she was like, I can't do it. Like, I need to get him out. The dad was like, do whatever you want. But do you believe the dad at all?
I mean, I don't have nothing told me that he was lying. I mean, he could have been blinded by talking to his daughter.
But the whole that he would bring him food and Connie would be like, no, he can't have this.
Well, so I'm thinking of it from a different perspective. So because we don't see everything, we don't understand the full lay of the evidence that the prosecution has and or that the defense had before it. There could have been allegations that Connie, because we didn't see her testimony, right?
We don't even know what she looks like.
Exactly.
I was about to get to that too.
There could be some kind of testimony that she noticed things every time the family was there. And so, I watch a lot of forensic files and a lot of ID, and a lot of times when people want their loved ones to die, they tend to come to the hospital and bring them things that they say they love, but they're poisoning them. So I don't know if that's why she said that or not, but yeah.
And that's the whole thing I was gonna ask earlier. Isn't a hospice, once you go to hospice care, that means that you're on the verge of dying.
That's what most people go to hospice for. I've never heard of a person go to hospice to just go to hospice and then come home.
Exactly. So I was confused on that. I'm like, why is the last resort hospice? Like, I'd rather die at home, you know? If that was the case. But anyways, I personally did not believe the dad at all. I think that he was just saying this to help his daughter out, and that was it. We never met Connie or saw what she looked like or anything. It was just from phone calls, and she even said it in her phone calls, like, this kid can eat. The mom is just saying not to feed him.
Okay, so here's my question. I get that, but here's what bothered me about that. What we don't hear, and again, we don't know if that happened, but if Connie is so concerned, why does she wait until they come and take him home? Like, why wasn't there a phone call before to police? Like, she was viewing these things. Why didn't they try to go to the court to try to exclude the mother from having any visitation rights to him if she was so concerned? So these are just things that I'm thinking in my head. Like, when I'm watching this is like these are notes. Did they try to bar her access if they thought he was in danger? How long was he in their care before they began noticing the issues? Any special safeguards because he was a minor? Like, as a facility, you should have these types of things in place, and especially if you think someone is harming a person who you're there to care for, and you're really there to care for them to make it more comfortable for them to leave this earth, right? That's primarily what a hospice is for. Although there may be other aspects of hospice to deal with people who need special needs because he has the GI issues and things of that nature, and I think he had a colonoscopy or whatever is that what that's called when you put a bag?
Yeah, but I don't know if he still had the bag or they got that fixed. I know that was one of the surgeries. But now that you mentioned that, there was a part of it where Danita was like, Connie was the one giving us all these orders. Like, she had the right, what's the word I'm looking for? The authority the whole time. Like, but then she was like, I can check him out whenever I want. Like, this is not mandatory. This is something that I wanted. That just confused me a bit.
I just got from this episode, and this is why I didn't really like this episode. I felt like they wasted 60 minutes on a case that just, first of all, they didn't, this is me doing a criticism to the documentary itself. I don't think that he did a great job of laying out what was going on. There's too many holes, too much confusion, too many people not wanting to be a part of it or involved in it. And so I would have just scratched that particular episode and found someone else. Like, the kids can't be shown, the daddy can't be shown, Connie ain't gonna be shown, nobody at the hospice is talking to us. We ain't seen a NAN doctor come up here and say that this person has been claiming that Kobe has all these issues, right? And the only parts that we see of Kobe is him
pictures.
And at the end, where it seemed like he was actually just a normal 16-year-old not wanting to get out of bed, right? And his birthday, and he wanted to do a card and all of that. So for me, I just felt like it was so much missing that it just turned me off from the entire episode.
Yeah.
That's just me. And if Denise was actually here and not protesting, she may have a different perspective of his. But I do know that she did not like this episode. So
I did not like this episode.
We can't hear you.
If you guys couldn't hear her, she said, I did not like this episode.
Yeah.
So I don't think she would have disagreed much.
Yeah. Now, and the one thing that really irritates me, the thing that really irritated me is that the way that the prosecutors use Facebook and the medical records of the child, I just find it very hard. I know that people tend to do this a lot with expert witnesses, but if that evidence was brought in that this mom potentially suffered from this particular illness, it would seem to me that they would do a little more due diligence and actually have someone assess her to be able to make an assessment of that. Now, putting that aside, here's another issue with the defense. Like, I know that the defense job is not to put on a case, right? Necessarily. Their job is to defend their client. And if the prosecution fails to meet their burden of proof, a lot of some defense attorneys take the position that I don't need to put on anyone because they didn't prove their case. But if you knew that the prosecution is making this serious allegation that your client suffers from this disability, right, or this mental illness or this condition, I think I would have had her see an expert and had that expert come on and talk to them about the things that she was experiencing, because maybe she was just listening to all the people who were considered quote unquote experts. Now, I don't think I would do that as a parent. I'll be asking all these fucking questions like, what's going on? Why can't you do anything? Why are we going to the Ronald McDonald house? Why is he going to hospice? What you mean there's nothing you can do? What were you planning on doing with this last surgery? Like what, running that stuff down. And again, we don't know if she did that because the documentary sucked on this episode. Andy, I'm really pissed at y'all. Y'all wasted a whole episode on Danita Tutt, and y'all could have used that with someone else. So shame on you, Andy.
And long story short,
but y'all can still give me a sponsorship if y'all want.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
I need that check. Long story short, she was found guilty. I'm gonna just skip to the ending.
Yeah.
She was found guilty for starvation and attempted murder.
Yeah.
And
sentenced to 5 years.
Just 5.
And you were making a big think about it being just 5.
She's getting accused for starvation of a 15-year-old, and that's only those few months that he was in hospice and Connie, whatever, and then attempted murder. I mean,
but she ain't murdered.
5 years.
But she ain't killed him.
Okay. I mean, that's how I'm gonna just leave it at that. You deserved a little more, but that's fine.
But
I don't make the rules.
She's guilty. I mean, she says she's innocent.
But she was found guilty.
There could have been some mitigating factors on that. But yeah, honestly, I don't know.
This episode was just very off, and
it seemed inconsistent from the first episode and the third episode, which we're going to talk about later. So, yeah.
No.
Right, go ahead.
So far, least favorite episode.
Yeah. But it's a good series. I think overall it allows you to see the criminal justice perspective from different points of view.
And different states.
And different states.
How their justice system works.
Yeah. So anyhow. All right. So that's the episode for today. It is accused, guilty or innocent or guilty. Miss Danita Tutt, and it is entitled Attempted Murder or Protective Murder.
Episode 2.
All right, so until next time, make sure that you continue to drink, listen, and converse. Make sure that you tell a friend. Make sure that you view us on YouTube if you're watching us. On Twitch if you are there, and also on Sundays, every Sunday, unless there's something going on in our lives, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live happy hour. And if you want to be a part of the happy hour, feel free to hit us up on Twitter at Peeps Creek. That's PEEPSCREEK. Instagram at the same name. And you can send a text message to, I don't know this number. 202 618-0043. Let me make sure before I gave somebody a number they'd be like.
Do that last part again.
202-618-0043. Send a text message to say you want to participate in the happy hour. Just have you something to drink. It doesn't have to be alcohol, but have something in a cup. And we'll send you the Zoom link and come and chat and chill with us. Until next time, continue to drink, listen, and converse. I appreciate Christian sticking it out and doing this episode. For those of you who even think Denise is coming back on here, she gone. Fired.
No, she's not.
She fired.
She has a migraine.
She got no migraine. She's just been selfish.
What?
All right,
Peace
people.
And love.
Peace and love.